Triple time.
Mr. Ross.
Mr. Emmett?
So I did ourselves a favor.
Okay.
Water's heated.
Water's heated. Wow.
Put it in last night.
Warm.
Pro move.
Pro move.
Pro move.
Triple is my sweetie pies, my girlfriend's favorite style of beer.
Okay.
And when we first met each other, she told me a little saying about triples. Drinking triple, seeing double, feeling single. Which
It's great
is so that
unless she's your girlfriend.
It was a pickup line and it worked on me.
That's awesome.
So it's party beer. Triples are sort of traditional Belgian golden ales. The Trappist monastery, specifically West Mall, is very famous for their triple.
Okay.
They do like 2 beers. They do a double and a triple. So usually they kind of sort of the rule of 3. It's like a single Patter's beer will be like 3% alcohol by volume.
Gotcha.
A double will be around like 6, and then a triple will be
9 to 10.
north of 9.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, for special occasions. Like, you save those triples, you're having that high ABV hooch, you're feeling good, you're letting your hair down.
So I found a recipe in Craft Beer and Brewing.
Cool.
And the recipe is Vickers triple recipe.
All right.
So basically, I just adjusted his recipe to, for efficiencies for our system.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to make a yeast starter for this because it's such a big beer.
Yeah.
Went to the homebrew shop the other day. Did not have the yeast we needed.
Right.
They ordered it. It's got a phone call. It's in now.
Cool.
And then from here, I'm kind of going to let Ross handle this brew day because he's the triple master.
Apparently. Okay, let's mill this grain. Wanna?
Yeah.
Boom.
And we're using Dingman's, which is... Yeah. getting the
That
good stuff.
high end. Oh, it's delicious.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah. You pour egg grind?
Perfect.
Okay. We are definitely milling above our pay grade here.
Dingman for the win.
All right, here we go.
What if I drop this whole bag?
Ooh, no. That's a lot of malt.
Dingman dust, baby.
Dingman dust.
It's a lot of grain.
It's a lot of grain, though. Insane in the mem grain. Swing around the brass pole a couple of times. This is how things explode. So you get a bunch of malt dust in the air. And it's, achieves a density in a controlled environment, just particulate in the atmosphere, trapped. Somebody drops a bucket on a piece of metal or lights a smoke and boom, the backside of your building blows out. It's for real. Malt dust, highly combustible.
Jazz hands it?
Jazz hands. Let's do it.
All right.
We got grain. We got water. Oh yeah, we could slam that all the way to the penthouse here.
Dude, plenty of room.
Yeah.
Look at that double loss.
That's tasty. That's a
See how dry
tasty
it is on
little
the
tater.
inside?
Yeah.
What you don't want.
No.
Oh yeah, it looks good.
I think it looks great, man.
Heck yeah. I'm just glad it all fits.
I am too.
That's pretty good though. 14 pounds of grain and 8 gallons of water.
And it all fits.
It all fits.
It all fits. They all float. Let's hook these pumps up, wanna?
Yeah, man.
Let's do it.
I'll let you do that.
Cool. So we're going kettle out. Pump in. Pump out. Kettle in. Ball valve open. Pump on.
So Ross, pH.
pH. We are at 5.6.
Okay.
What are we shooting for?
Let's shoot for 5.2 to 5.3.
5.8 milliliters of lactic acid. This was in the Struble tater. There we go.
I don't know, you want to give it a couple minutes to
Sort of get in there.
All right. Well, let's fill her back up, man. I feel good.
There it is. 5.27.
Damn.
Bingo. Ooh. Oh. Yeah. 5.26.
How's she looking? Oh, real nice.
Delightful. Gorgeous.
All right. So, Ross, here's the conundrum.
What is the conundrum?
I got to run to the homebrew shop.
Okay.
So we can actually have some yeast to make beer with.
Cool.
I have the timer set. It's a 90-minute mash. 90 minutes. As you said earlier. We probably had the pH adjusted within 8 to 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. So this is gonna be a little bit longer brew day, but it's just more hanging out and time to drink beer or whatever. So, do you and Ross want to go to the beer shop and pick up the beer?
So we're gonna head down to Tasty Beverage on the South Slope and pick up a couple of triples just to have something to compare today's triple against. We're looking specifically for a West Mall triple, kind of the gold standard. Really the one that started it all. Buckle the safety belt, make your mother proud. I hope they're open. I mean, it's not even noon yet on a Thursday, so we'll see. Although this is Asheville, so what are you doing, fella? You just staggering across the road with a 40 full of hooch, heading over to the stab and grab, the hot spot here. You want to get into a little trouble on a Thursday afternoon in Asheville, you head on down to the hot spot.
Good, how are you, man? Long time no see. Yeah. We are in the market for a couple of Belgian triples.
Right on.
In bottles.
There's Westmore.
Oh, yeah.
Dual Teve is probably my favorite triple.
Okay.
It goes through a cool shift like all their beers do, even though it gets inoculated with brewer's yeast. But
really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we have some Allagash triple.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, it'd be a shame to not get a 4-pack since you offer them. This is what I'm talking about here.
Brew days are long.
Yeah,
You gotta have multiple
We're
beers.
gonna have a couple.
Cool. Thanks again.
Yeah, right on, bro.
Good to see you.
You too, man.
Later on.
Later. This was a success. This turned out better than I could have hoped. Allagash, baby. It was like it was meant to be. Wear your seatbelt. Oh. We're gonna go to New Belgium Brewing, which is just down the way here. We're gonna add one more to the fridge. Why not? This is sort of the triple that I'm most familiar with, and I'm a big fan of the triple Mosa with this triple. So we've got triple and a small flagon of orange juice. Okay, so we're gonna put together a beer Mosa here using some triple and a little OJ. The beer Mosa is a beautiful thing. You take a 12-ounce bottle of beer and you pop the top and you pour it in a glass. And then you take your OJ and you just sort of top that right off there. Like 4/5 beer, 1/5 orange juice. If you go out a little too hard in the paint on a Friday or Saturday evening and are crudo at brunch the next morning, the beer Mosa will put you right back in the saddle. You have one of these right around noon, right around now, and you're sitting pretty for the rest of the day. So skål, prost, cheers. Yeah, that's beer. Yeah.
So I got the goods.
Got the goods.
I see you got the goods.
2 packs of yeast. Yeah, I'm about a triple Mosa deep right now.
Nice.
Feels good, man.
So we got the WLP 530.
Right on.
Super fresh.
Right on.
We only got 2.
It's okay. 2's all you need, man.
We're just gonna aerate the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So what's the next step, Ross?
Well, some will call it loudering.
Yep.
We're gonna turn this pump off and pull this basket up and let it drain. I'm gonna give it the old clean and jerk here.
I'll these for you.
For me, are you sure? Is it that hot?
Safety first.
Safety first.
Or third.
Safety third. Pump off. Pop the top.
Up the top.
Set that.
I'll close the ball valve
Close
here.
the valve, also important. Okay, are we ready? Hooky, hooky. Hooky. Bingo.
How was that?
You know,
I feel like you got the height.
I do. It's got the angle for the dangle here.
While this is dripping,
Yeah.
probably crank the controller up to 100%.
Smart.
Just so.
Just to be prepped.
Yeah, because the 120 takes a little bit of time.
This mash out like so.
Perfect.
What's our number?
7.5.
Yeah, buddy.
No,
Where's
7.25.
Seven.
This is saying we just have 7, so we're a little bit over.
In preparation for our hop edition, we're gonna put the hop basket in right now. It's also gonna let us crack the lid on the kettle here. There we go. It's good.
Can we drink some beers now?
It's good. Let's drink some beers.
This water. So
That-
why did you want to do triple today?
Well, these are party beers.
Gotcha.
And we are throwing a party coming up. The homies Dave and Cassie are getting married, and my thought was we could serve this party beer at their wedding. That's what you brew a triple for, sort of
Gotcha.
traditionally, a celebration.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Be a bunch of hammered people.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's better than drinking whiskey at the end of the day. So.
Totally.
Alarm's off for our boil. Which is good because we're a couple beers deep. It's good to have the reminder.
Reminder. We're making beer, not just drinking.
Right. So this is a 90-minute.
Excellent.
The first 30 minutes of this boil are just going to be
Sugar.
some of that sweet candy syrup. Oh shit! Did I not get enough? I was
that
supposed to
math
get
is
2.5. So I done screwed up.
Emmett.
It's still going to be beer. One thing I like to do when I'm adding syrups is just turn the heating element off.
Smart.
Just so it doesn't scorch while you're adding it, and then we'll just fire it back up. So if you just hit the old heat button.
Hit the heat button. Here, I'll pull the top.
Oh, yours was a lot more gummy than mine.
Yeah. Mine's like a tube of toothpaste.
Yeah. I wonder if yours is just a little bit older,
didn't
maybe, or
didn't warm up.
didn't warm up as
Didn't
much.
fully.
Just kind of crystallized a little bit. You calling that good?
I'm calling that good.
So we did 2 pounds. We're gonna bring this back up to a boil. 90-minute boil total. We're gonna boil for 30 minutes, and then with 60 minutes left, we're gonna do our first hop edition.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Okay.
Let's set some alarms.
Yeah,
So
set
we
some
don't
alarms.
forget.
I'm gonna set it to 35, just because it has to come back up to temp from us turning it off and adding the syrup. So
Let's drink another beer.
good story. Oh yeah. Oh crap. Where are we at time wise? Oh, 3 minutes.
Alarm. Okay.
Dude, look how
minutes.
that worked out. I gotta pee after
Seal
you.
here.
Steering
Woo!
gold.
Couple of 4 triples, baby.
Fucking Christ. All right, Ross.
Yeah, bro.
We're getting there.
Let's do it.
All right.
Couple
I'm
of
already
beers
there.
yeah, likewise.
I feel pretty good. So we're 30 minutes into the 90-minute boil.
Party time for a hop edition.
Yeah. What are we hopping with?
We're hopping it with Styrian from Golding's. Heyo.
An ounce.
At 1 ounce, 1 whole ounce.
And it's super low
Yeah.
alpha acids.
Nice.
I think it's 1.8% on these, I believe. Oh.
The whole ounce, baby.
And this is nice. We don't have to measure.
This is nice, you know, drinking triple, just take that sort of blunt force approach to your first hop edition.
Just throw her in.
You can grab a half ounce of Nelson Sauvin hops out of the fridge here. This is our second, and I believe last hop edition.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna put our hops in the hopper. The hop. So,
Clarity, we learned.
clarity, very important with the triple. Right in here.
Yeah, I mean, let's go outside the box.
There she goes.
Yeah, we're good. Timer just went off.
We're good. Our 90-minute boil's over, and we've begun chilling. We've hooked everything up and are heat transferring our wort down to fermentate. Well, pitching temperature, really. Oh yeah. A healthy stream. Hearty. Full bodied.
It smells good.
Smells great.
Doing a little aeration.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the key to success today. We're probably under pitching a bit because we didn't make a starter. You want to get crazy?
Yeah.
Just go straight in and then
Oh yeah. We'll do a maneuver. We'll
You
let
ready?
go here and then down to
You
here.
gotta be a pro. This is either gonna be the best idea or the
I think
worst.
it's a great idea. I don't
This
know
is what happens when triples happen.
This couldn't possibly go wrong.
No.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bucket party.
Heck yeah.
Tandemonium. There it is. Yeah.
Get some.
Right
Yeah. Keep that going.
So, this is yeast from White Laboratories. It's gonna be like a hearty strain of Belgian style yeast. We will be fermenting presently.
Pump off. I'd say she looks good.
Yeah, totally. It's a lot of yeast food.
5 here.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell what the foam is. I mean, I'd say we're at 5.5.
5.5.
That's what we're looking for. It's the best magic trick ever. No.
No. Don't worry, I star sand.
And that's why we do.
Go-Gurt. Number 1. We're fully
Party.
sanitary.
Right.
Sanitation.
Which was hanging out in my other bucket.
I'm gonna take the lid. Gonna place it like so. Move this. Little agitation.
Boom.
Boom. There it is.
90-minute mash, 90-minute boil,
Bingo.
4 beers, 5 beers.
I'll take that.
Yeah, man. So, before we forget,
I'm calling it 1076.
7?
Yeah,
Seven.
7 lucky 7.
let's call it 10.
1077.
Thanks, guys.
Heyo.
What do you want to see us brew next? Your mom?
This is so on point for the style. Like, you look at the beer in the glass. Hey, look at that. It's that sort of honey gold color. A little bit of a haze to it. That like really delicate kind of lacing on top. Has definitely the correct aroma. That sort of like estery, I mean Belgian-y flavor. When I taste that. I mean, not a great descriptive word, but it's like, ooh, Belgian-y.
For me, it's like banana clove.
Exactly, yeah. It's that sort of banana bread, kind of spicy, just a little bit of that sort of warming bite to it. Don't really taste the booze, though. Not a super, like, booze-heavy tang on it.
Not cloying, which is nice. this is going to be added to my brewing repertoire because
I don't want to like brag.
Yeah.
But I think we like really nailed
yes.
this style. I mean, just based on the sort of examples of triple that we drank to sort of compare this to, like this stands up with those. Like for real.
It's really good.
I'm kind of surprised, like pleasantly, but like
it's delicious.
Great job, man.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
I am excited that you get to bring this.
I am too.
Like be like, hey bitches, I brewed this.
This is like, this is a party right here. This is a reason to celebrate.
Beer man?
I'm the beer man right now. At the end of the line here.
You're the guy that made the beer?
Yeah. We're gonna get the rocket sauce on deck here.
Is this Ross's special sauce?
Say when.
Say when.
Bingo. Get a little head on that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is a triple.
I can't. Oh my god! I had some back at the table and I can't get here.
You liked it?
That's what we want to try.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I gotta try it.
All right, Tilton. Here we go. Yeah.
It's delicious.
I'm glad you like it,
It's
man.
very delicious.
Thank you so much.
Oh, this is classic. You gotta tell there's beet sugar on this. It's very gross. Maybe you know what it reminds me of? You ever had Castile?
Hey Beer Geeks, and welcome back to Beer School. I know it's been a really long time since we did one of these episodes where we drill down into one of the ingredients or main processes in making craft beer, but today we're really excited to be in Suffolk at Munton's Maltings. It's one of the best maltings in the UK, and they make some incredible ingredients, not just for brewers but also for all kinds of ingredients and all kinds of products that you'd never ever expected. But today we're going to drill down into not only how malt's made but how it's used by brewers to make the amazing flavours that we see today in modern brewing. This is Beer School and this is malt. When was the last time you got excited about the malt in your beer? I'd wager never. Hops take the headlines, yeast gets the Unsung Hero award, and malt, well, it's lucky to get a mention in the thank you speech. But when there are only 4 ingredients in something, every single one of them is worthy of attention. In beer, malt adds aroma, flavour, body, it gives it colour and helps retain head, and of course it provides the sugar that's turned into alcohol. So how it's made and used is key to understanding our favourite drink. Brewing starts by basically making a porridge with malt and warm water, which creates the sugary liquid that we ferment. There's more on that later, but first, what is malt? Well, in most cases it's barley that's gone through a very specific process, releasing vital enzymes and adding colour. All this happens at a maltings like Munton's in Suffolk, one of the world's leading malt makers. We headed there to get a tour and talk to Fabian Clark, Munton's technical brewer who tests the malt, tries new products and advises brewers on how to get the best from their product. So what does a brewer need to get a great beer, and how is it made that way? As we find out, just be warned, I look ridiculous in a hairnet.
So it'll be varying from starch and extract, so the amount of sugars that will be then used in brewing to create alcohol, but also nitrogen for head retention and body, and also not too much nitrogen to make sure that the haze in the product is stable.
And why is barley in particular used over different grains?
So there's a few reasons. Traditionally, barley has not been usable for bread making, so things like wheat and spelt and rye have been a lot more popular for bread because there's no husk, so it's easy to make bread out of it. In comparison, barley is a husk on the outside, which isn't great to chew. The second reason is that husk helps brewing a lot because it of course forms a bed in the lauter tun, and
So it almost kind of self-filters itself.
basically filters itself. And adding to that, barley has a very nice sort of starch to nitrogen protein balance that is just a lot more beneficial to brewing in comparison to wheat or spelt.
Getting barley in peak condition starts by being harvested and delivered by farmers daily. The first step is to check it's free from contaminants such as other plants and grains and of the highest quality. As you can see at Muntons, the testing is pretty rigorous, and anything that doesn't meet their parameters is rejected there and then. From there it's put into silos where it waits its turn to be germinated. Barley is full of starch, which is basically sugar in a form that yeasts can't ferment, so we germinate it to make it easier for them. The grain is steeped in tepid water to hydrate the starch and activate the enzymes, the perfect state to sprout shoots and grow. They are left to germinate on giant humidified warehouse floors where tough starches break down into powdery meal that will turn into sugar during the brewing. Before that can truly start to grow though, the grain is kilned to stop the process and dry it out.
Ready?
It's when we get kilning that malt gets exciting. As well as preserving the enzymes and sugar for the mash, maltsters can add colour and flavour in the kiln. Lower temperatures and less time in the kiln means lighter roasting and more biscuit and caramel notes, while higher temperatures and longer time will result in carbonisation of the sugars and more savoury, roast-based flavours. In fact, there is a veritable, if very brown, rainbow of malts. Extra pale malts are like Jacob's crackers, brilliant with vibrant citrus hops. Munich malt is like a digestive biscuit that needs a slap of noble hop bitterness. Cowra and amber malts with their toffee and nuttiness love a soft, juicy English ale yeast, while chocolate malt with its dark cocoa and black malt with its burnt toast aroma add balance to big and boozy imperial stouts. These more specialist malts are made at the historic small batch drum maltings at Muntons. And then when it comes to the flavour generation, I guess the main way that it's done is through the level of kilning.
Yes, exactly. So kilning, depending on what kind of temperatures we run at and what kind of moisture is in the grain while we hit it with that temperature, will move us from a green flavour that's like raw barley going through a slight biscuit char to a very malty, ale-y flavour, and then caramel and down the line to sort of chocolate roasted coffee kind of flavours.
And there's kind of there's speciality malt as well, which can have like crystal malt, a real caramel, not just a little hint of it.
Yes.
How's that created?
So for caramel malts, they're made in drum roasters. We would have to hit the green barley, so undried, fresh off the germination box. We'd hit it with a mashing temperature, so similar to brewing, sort of around the 55 to 65 degree mark, to start converting starches to sugars, and then we will then rapidly increase the temperature and start drying this down and caramelizing the sugar inside the grain. And then depending on what kind of crystal malt it'll be, you'd go from a very light color, sort of 10 to 15 EBC, to all the way up to 400 EBC, where you've just got different forms of caramelized sugar in it.
Clearly a lot of work and history has gone into producing different kinds of malts. And that demand is now being driven further by brewers as they look to diversify and improve upon what they make. Of course, there is still a lot of work to do once the malting's done. The mash is a critical and intensely complicated part of the brewing process, with endless opportunity to tweak to get the best from an ingredient that varies throughout the year. In small breweries, it's the time when brewers are using their instincts as much as their brains, and in bigger breweries, it's calculated and monitored to the nth degree. The idea is to extract the malt sugars by warming the malt to the point where its enzymes start to break down the inedible starch. But in reality, it's a tricky balancing act between the right amount of water, the right temperature, and the right time. In the end, you need the desired colour, as well as the perfect gravity to nail the balance of sweetness and the alcohol level. One of the breweries that takes the most exciting and innovative approaches to their mashing is Burnt Mill, probably because their brewer Sophie used to do Fabian's job at Muntons. After our maltings tour, we headed over to Burnt Mill, which is conveniently located across the road. There we got chatting about how malt is used and what brewers can do to add flavour, aroma and nuance to their beers at the mashing and boiling stage. So we've travelled all of 500 metres from Muntons over to Burnt Mill, who we put in our 2018 breweries to watch out for, and we have been watching and very much enjoying your beers. So I'm here with Charles and with Sophie. So the beers that you make are typically mostly extremely hoppy, but I've got a beer right here that is extremely not. Do you guys like playing around with more complicated grists than perhaps some breweries do?
I think we, from the start, we wrote that to, when we were putting the ideas together, it's also there's a lot of cereals that people maybe don't look at. And but for no good reason, if something adds something to a brew, then there's no reason why you shouldn't use it. If it's rice or maize, all different types of oats that we use here as well. So there's no reason for us to shy away from not using barley. So not having that kind of sort of hang-ups and that has kind of helped us that we could use a bunch of different things that we wouldn't normally have gone for. But the good thing, obviously, we can have an idea and then we can talk about how practical it is to add all that sort of thing. And Sophie can break it down and be like, oh well, if you do this, then there's going to be a knock-on effect.
Well, you could do that, but
shut up, Charles, come on.
Where brewers used to stick to barley for their mash, the snobbery about other grains is gone. Wheat for body and white bread-like sweetness, rye for a spicy tang, and a range of gluten-free and heritage malts that give hope to poor celiacs. Even rice has made a comeback in craft brewing as Mexican-style light lagers make a comeback. There's lots of different techniques being used in hops and lots of different products coming out all of the time. Is that the same for you guys with malt? Are there new products or new processes you're bringing in that?
I don't know if it's a case of new products, it's just exploring the depth and the range of products out there, which is vast. You've got a whole range of white malts, so your base malts, going from like your super pale and your Pilsner types up to your Munichs and your aromatic malts and things like that. So I think there's probably going to be a bit more about exploring those different types of things and trying to get different flavours and characteristics in through that way.
I mean, this seems pretty revolutionary to me. I don't think I've ever had a beer that had 0 pale or Pilsner malt in. Have I just not been aware of that fact, or is this quite an unusual thing to brew?
If you think about sort of a classic Bavarian or Vienna lager, then they're made with Munich or Vienna malt.
Purely, right.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well then I've drunk a fuck ton of them.
And hence why they have that sort of nice burnt orange and nice biscuity kind of flavour. It comes from the slightly higher roasting of those pale malts, because they've still got the enzyme activity in there, but it's slightly lower than what you'd have in your pale malt.
For most brewers, malt forms the baseline of a beer recipe onto which they layer everything else. Traditional British styles are all about the yeast and hop nuances that play off the malt. West Coast styles may be known for their hops, but malts are a huge part of that flavour. And in lager, it's most of the beer's depth and moorishness. Brewers are only starting to explore the wide variety of flavours that can be teased out by selection and process, slowly exploring the hard work done over centuries by maltsters. Guys, next time you pick up, whether it's a Pilsner or a Pale Ale or an IPA or a Stout or a Porter or a barley wine, I couldn't recommend just having a little think, not just about the hops that have been involved or the yeast that's brought out those flavours, having a little think about that malt bill and what flavors might have come from it can sort of open your eyes to some other things that are going on in beer, which maybe lots of us pass over in excitement about the things that move a little bit quicker, like the different yeast strains and the different hops. So I hope this beer school's been really helpful for you. Obviously make sure you check out all our other beer schools about hops, about how to taste beer like a beer judge, about how sour beer is made and all other kinds of amazing barrel-based things. But guys, thank you very much, and cheers to Muntons as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today we're brewing a Citra Double IPA, and today is the first day we're brewing on our new 220/240 controller. It's 30 amps, and we're brewing with a 5500 watt ultra low watt density element. Pretty much all positives, except you need a dedicated 30 amp 220/240 outlet. Heats everything up extremely quick. We're really happy about this. Check out our website, you'll find it there. Since we have such a large grain bill with 18.2 pounds today, what I'm gonna do is we have the full volume of water, which is just a tad below 9 gallons. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and pull a few gallons off. So the water we pull off in reserve, we will then use to sparge over the basket to make up that volume loss. People wanted us to max it out, so we're maxing it out. So we're at 5.5 gallons. I just had the local homebrew shop crush the grains for me. And I'm just stirring a little bit just to make sure there's no dough balls. Basically, you just hook the hose up. So we're gonna go from the kettle to the pump in, pump out, to the lid of the kettle. Now we're gonna go ahead and just turn the pump on. We're gonna go ahead and mash for 60 minutes, and we're mashing at 150 degrees today. So this is 18.2 pounds of grain and about 6.5 gallons of water. So we're gonna let that do its thing for 60 minutes. All right, our 60-minute mash is finished. First, need to turn the pump off. It's hot. Gonna go ahead and get my gloves on, hold the basket, let the grains drain, and while they're draining, we're gonna sparge with our 2 gallons of water we held back. And we're just gonna pour it over the grains. And then a little bit more. And again, just use your stove to heat it up. We just used a hot plate. We're just gonna let this drain for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and just pump this baby up to 100% to bring it up to a boil. All right, here is our pre-boiled gravity. I'm calling that 1060 on the nose, baby. Boiling point's about 208 degrees here in Asheville. We hit that pretty quickly with our new 240 volt controller. All right, our 60-minute boil just started, and you can see on the controller here that I've moved it from 100% of power down to 60%. You can still see we have a really good boil. 60-minute addition, 0.8 ounces of nugget. So 0.8 ounce of nugget. That's basically our bittering addition right there. 0.8 ounce of Citra. I'm gonna hook up the plate chiller, all the hoses, and then start recirculating through the plate chiller for the last 15 minutes of the boil. Sanitize, sterilize, we talk about it in every video, but just good protocol. All right, so we got our 0.8 ounces of Citra for our 15-minute edition. Also going to toss in a Work Block tablet. I'm just gonna toss the Work Block tablet directly into the kettle. And then I'm gonna throw the hops into the hop basket. First real brew day on this system, and I'll dial it in as we go. But for right now, it seems like once you're up to a boil, 45% of power seems to be a pretty good spot. Turning on the pump now, we're gonna recirculate to sanitize everything. This is our 10-minute hop addition, 0.8 ounces of Citra. Gonna weigh out another 0.8, you guessed it. Yeah, all right, so that'll be the last addition, 0.8 of Citra. 60-minute boil done. All the hops have been added. I am going to go ahead and just kill the element. And then I'm gonna recirculate through the plate chiller back into the kettle. And then as soon as we're right around, mid to late 60s, we'll turn off the cooling water and transfer to a fermenter. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the cooling water. And while we're chilling, I always like to open up the pump to full volume. Just seems to cool a little bit quicker, so I just open that back up to full blast. We're just taking the hot water from the plate chiller, mix up some Star San. I'm gonna make about 2.5 gallons and then just work it around. And I like to put my lid in. So we'll let that fill. Keep an eye on it so you don't overflow. That'd be bad news there. The wort is at pitching temp, so we're gonna go ahead and transfer it into our fermenter. And I always like to secure it with the handle. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fire up the pump. Pump power. While this is coming out at a nice slow pace, I'm gonna steal a starting gravity, original gravity reading. We'll let this chill for a few moments and we'll come back. So we just finished wrapping up the transfer. It's nice and aerated. Oh, you know what might help? Pitching the yeast. So we're gonna go ahead and put some of this WLP051 Cali ale yeast. I don't have scissors. Someone broke the office scissors and did not order another set. So, shoot. Well, gotta get it in somehow.
That's what she said.
Thanks, Kyle. And then we're just gonna do the same thing to this pack. So, I'm gonna move this to the floor. Nice tight seal. Now I just filled my airlock with Star San. Boom. Since we're here, let's take a starting gravity. I'm gonna call that 1070. 1070. So we got the temperature controller set to 68. Taping on our probe. And we're gonna drop her in. I'm gonna transfer this into the keg. And I'm actually gonna dry hop in the keg today. Get our bucket opened. There we go. It smells really good. And I had cold crash this. We're a little chilly for a gravity reading, so I'm just gonna let this warm up, and by the time we're done kegging, it should be up to room temperature and I can take a hydrometer reading. There's a crack on our auto siphon. I may have stepped on it, I'm not sure, but there's a nice little crack in it. So instead of aerating the beer, I'm just gonna use this sanitized brewing hose. Fine, it's just gonna make a manual siphon. Just gonna put my hands over the hose like that, and I'm actually gonna suck on the hose. So I'm gonna stop there. We're pretty much at a nice little yeast cake there. Pretty good cake fill. I think I have 2 of them. Yeah. We got a burrito. We could dry hop with the burrito. So we're gonna do 2 ounces of these guys. I'm a fan of Amarillo. Use a bag, make it easy to take them out on Monday. Just toss them in. Just make sure it's submerged in there. So we're gonna get this hooked up to gas over the weekend. We'll be back Monday. See you then. Our final gravity is looking like 10, 10, 10, 12, 1014-ish, maybe 1015. Just gonna release the pressure. So my hands have been sanitized, so I'm just gonna grab the string and we'll just pull it out. So there's the hops. All right, so I'm gonna get this hooked back up to gas. All right, so here's our party tap. I don't know, we're gonna try it on 10, see what happens. And we're just gonna hook our gas post up. And it's only been carbing for a couple days, so we'll see how that comes out. Looks like might be a little under carb still, but kind of a goldish gold. Definitely has got a lot of melon on the nose for sure. Like honeydew maybe, cantaloupe, that kind of aroma. But let's see how she tastes. That's pretty solid, not boozy, definitely balanced, definitely has a good amount of bitterness to handle the alcohol content in it. Don't taste any off flavors, anything like that. Starting gravity was 1070. Our final gravity was right around 1014. The sample was a little cold, so we're somewhere between 7.35 and 7.49% alcohol. I think technically a double IPA is 7.5 and up, but I'm still calling it a double IPA. I don't know, maybe you'll call it a single IPA. Overall, super happy with it. Definitely pretty crushable. If you really like double IPAs, I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. The 2240 controller worked flawlessly. You can check that out on our website, clawhammersupply.com. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, info@clawhammersupply. Give us a call, leave a comment below. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers. Not a huge fan of IPAs, but this is all right.